All right, y'all, Rob Anderson with Clean Power Wash. And we'll see how herky-jerky this is, but I'm out walking my dogs. And, hey, we deal with employee drama. If you're in business, you have employee drama, employee dynamics, whatever. And so this is from what I understand of the situation, is that basically we got the business owner, we got a really great lead tech, we've got a newer tech, and we've got a technician that apparently is just not that good. And so oftentimes, and what the owner said, basically, the guy who's not that good, sounds like he's been there for, let's say, at least a month or two, and isn't to the point where he could run a truck solo or anything like that, and still needs, adult supervision, basically. And so oftentimes what we hope will happen is that, well, let's put that weak player with our strongest player, and stronger player will bring him up. And what often happens, and what's happening in this situation, is that apparently this lead tech's starting to feel burned out. Hasn't brought it to the owner's attention, said it to the new person, and complaining about that. And it's good that they're at least admitting it, that they're burned out, but also, at the end of the day, and this is kind of where I'll get to on this, you got to let the right people know. Otherwise, it's just complaining without, a productive potential outcome. And this lead tech may eventually not like the brand new person, but it's something where, in especially a small business where I think it's literally just the four of them, the business owner needs to be having those conversations more frequently with his technicians one-on-one. Hey, how's so-and-so doing? How's this person doing? He has an idea, but apparently he didn't realize how bad it was with this lazier person or less capable person. Sorry, I got stuff stuck in my sandal. And it's hard when you're in the trench, in that situation. But I mean, the way that he explained it was basically I'm looking for guidance on not necessarily how to get rid of this guy, but what do I do with him? And he even said he does seem like this guy is just not that great of a producer. So I mean, those are all things that are pointing to, hey, it's a couple sit downs. So anyways, it's one of those things where you have to have those conversations, and we've had great technicians before, but they were great people and they were really nice guys. And so they would deal with somebody who was a potential cancer, who was an anchor they couldn't hoist up and make better. And they're like, man, I don't want to say stuff that's going to make somebody lose their job. And you have to continually reiterate to people like that, hey, listen, it's not fair to you for you to be basically getting screwed over by this person and continue to let that happen and not let us know. I want you to enjoy who you work with. A positive and productive team is going to do far better than one where somebody's awesome, somebody's lazy, or somebody keeps screwing stuff up. And sometimes it's where you've got to have that conversation with, both of them, saying listen, y'all got to work together. We got to find a way for this to be okay. You got to step it up. And those are just having those real talk conversations where, hey, this guy who's slacking off, when you confront him about this, and I confront's not, when you talk with him about this, he's going to pretty much handle it, a couple different ways. Hopefully he says, okay, man, I didn't realize that. That's somebody who's fairly intellectually mature, and sadly that's usually not the situation, but they can completely shut down. Fine, then I'll there won't be any heart in what I do. I'm gonna just suffer through this and I'm going to go on Indeed every night now, which may be where it needs to go. Or the person gets mad, and then they get their frustrations out about the lead tech that they work with. This person may feel like, man, the lead, he's always trying to make me do everything, and he doesn't want to do anything, and I think that's ridiculous, and he's just trying to, use me. And we've had that conversation with guys before. And it's interesting when that comes out because, you always want to trust your people that have been with you longer, more, that have proven stuff to you. But that doesn't mean that everything that they say is gospel. There is certainly truth in that, and understanding like, hey, so, like, give me examples, like, in what ways is this person doing that? And then, part of this, the ongoing resolution is having weekly or bi-weekly one-on-ones and group meetings with everybody. You need to have that time where that person can feel safe talking about what's going on, letting you know, hey, there's frustrations, hey, this is what's going on. We had a guy not long ago blow up on us because he didn't like who he was working with. He thought we were screwing him on jobs, and a bunch of other things. And it came down to perception of stuff that wasn't, he thought we were trying to fire him. And there were some things that had happened for him personally that just impacted the things that we could assign to him. And also knowing like, hey, my first priority is to keep our two lead techs who have been with us for a substantial amount of time. And so, making sure that those guys who have also proven, which I think is really important, proven that they can handle those bigger jobs. That's why they get those jobs. Because at the end of the day, we're scheduling jobs, we want them done, and we don't want to call back. We don't want a headache afterwards. We need it done right. So now, the way that it all went down wasn't the greatest, but the outcome of just getting all of his frustrations out, and us explaining what was really going on, turned that situation around. So, back to my friend, it's probably going to have to be a straight up conversation with, thanking the person who told him, hey, we want that open dialogue. I really appreciate that. I know you're new here. And the goal is not to gossip about people. We want this to be, productive conversations, productive information sharing. The guy who's slacking off, I'd probably meet with him last, but I would go ahead and meet with the lead tech and say, dude, what's going on with this guy? I need you to be honest. Like, is he burning you out? Are you tired of dealing with him? Like, do we need to let him go? And here's the thing. And yes, I fired a lot of people, but we've employed a lot of people. When you're essentially in this situation, I think it's basically his right-hand man, knows that the owner sees, hears, and trusts their judgment. This guy may think, well, man, my boss doesn't want to work with him. I'm stuck working with him. Why do we have to, I'm just putting up with him because, my boss won't fire him. And when that technician realizes if the boss knew what was going on with that guy, probably would already kind of let him go, or, have that come to Jesus moment with him. Which is where that last phone call or sit down is with that guy. And then, you may have one more sit down where you're having everybody together, but you sit down with him and say, hey man, it's been a month or two. I really, with this line of work and everything, really had hoped that you'd be able to start running, a truck by now. And, unfortunately, some of the stuff from what I've seen and feedback I've received, when you're not there, but also you're not being productive to the level that we need you to be. Everybody has got to pay for themselves. Everybody's got to be an asset, or ultimately they're a liability, and we got to figure out how we either turn that around or part ways. So I know that may have been a bit long-winded. I hope you all have enjoyed the scenery. And one other big thing I'll tell you about this: if you're married, talk to your wife about this, and she'll usually tell you, listen, you're complaining a whole lot about this person, either talk with them or get rid of them, because they're separate from what's actually going on. Anyways, see ya.